Let's start with JavaScript. What are the JavaScript ES6 features?
Okay, so JavaScript has many features, and actually in this ES6, the JavaScript got many features uh, mentioned as like let and const keyword. Earlier we had only var keyword for the variable declaration, and then we get arrow function and promises and object destructuring and array destructuring. And so these were the main common, uh, and we got like many. So far these are these.
Okay. What is hoisting in JavaScript?
Like hoisting is the ability to move the declaration of the variable and function in JavaScript at the top of the scope, and mainly it works with var keyword. So that's why we get if we try to access var type declared keyword before the like declaration, we get the undefined, and it also works with let and const, but due to their blocked scope, we get the reference error.
Okay. Give an example.
Okay, so like for an example, let if I say var name equal to Ram, if I assign Ram to like name, and if I access it like console log in the next line, I will get the name Ram. But if I try to access the name before in the earlier line before the declaration, I will get undefined in the console.
What are callbacks, promises, and async await?
Okay, so callbacks are the functions that are passed to a function to another function as an argument, and it will run once after the first function has been finished execution. Then only this will be run. And promises, like so, promises represents an eventual is an object in JavaScript that represents the eventual completion of an event that may or may not be completed in the future. And we use promises like JavaScript is a synchronous language, and to achieve a synchronous operation in this, we use promises, and it has by default it has three states. So default, or you can say initial state, is pending, and second one is resolved, or you can say promise fulfilled, and third one is the rejected, and then async await. So async await is like nothing but just the, you can say, advanced or smaller syntax to use promises in a better way, in a structured way. So by using async await, we can manage the code easily, and it is more readable. And by like if we once we write the keyword async uh, to any functions, so that function is now supposed to return a promise. So the syntax is also like this: async, then the function name, and inside that we use await, because wherever we use async, it expects await to be inside the function to like get the result.
Okay. Explain the syntax for promises. You can open any code editor and share your
Okay, then let me share my screen. Okay, let's go editor. Okay, now some taking a keyword variable let promise equal to create promise. It takes two parameters. Sorry, get in case it will put some result, can it resolve, otherwise it is rejected. So I'm also taking a set timeout. It will take one error function. And taking a variable. This will be true. So if promise is fulfilled, this is true. It will say problem has been resolved or fulfilled. Fulfilling the promise. There's a promise fulfilled, and in case it is rejected, then it will be reject. Okay, promise failed. Now let's see the value of our promise. This is my promise. If it is fulfilled, then we will get the value in the then or in the catch. So it will be, let's say, result of our promise. I'm gonna simply console whatever I received. Catch and get the error. We will also console this one. Error, error. Okay, now let's see if it is true. So promise will be resolved, fulfilled. And just run it. Emergency promise fulfilled. And if it is false, it should reject. Promise failed. So this is how promise works. Yes.
What is closure in JavaScript?
Okay, so closure is a combination of two different functions in which let's say parent and child. And this child function has the access to the scope of parent function, to all the properties. Child function can access those. So this is closure.
Okay. What is event loops in JS?
Okay. So event loops are basically responsible for execution of code. So event loop is what that manages the call stack and decides which task to assign to call stack or which task to send to the callback queue or micro queue. So for example, let if I take if in my JS file I have three block of code in which in the first line I have the console log, and then in the second I'm receiving a promise, and then in the third I'm using is one set timeout. So it is event loops job to check if call stack is empty, then it will send to the uh, to the call stack line by line. My code will execute, and in order of console it will execute it quickly. Then call stack will again free, then promises. So it's event loops job to decide to send it to the call stack, because the promise will be, once it will be completed, then only we can read the value. So now it will redirect it to the micro queue, and in case of set timeout, uh, it will get the value once the given time is completed. So now it will redirect it to the callback queue. So that's how event loop manages this process in JS.
Please check your chat box. I have sent a code block. Now tell me, what will be the output and why? Coding questions.
Okay, output. Hmm. Actually, in this case, console.log, it will be undefined uh, according to me, because we have an arrow function, and in case of arrow function, this is the arrow function takes this from the parent function, and we don't right now we don't have any parent. So in this case, there is no parent function, so there is no this. So in this will be window and window dot name. So it name doesn't exist, so it will be undefined.
Okay. Check the next one.
Okay, so where extension text. This one will also be undefined, because we have one where x values 10, but when test value runs in the execution context, the in the console.log x line, we have only the declaration with where, but the value will get into the next line, so this will be undefined.
Check the next one.
Where p1 to 3. Okay, so this will be false, because both are array, and it comes in case of array, we get the reference from the memory, so address will be different for both, so it will be false.
Okay. Let's move to React now. What is
Okay.
virtual DOM and how does it works?
Okay, so virtual DOM is the copy of the real DOM. So React copies the real DOM, and it creates two copy. We have one virtual DOM, that is the current, and then we have the previous previous one. And whenever any changes come in, occur into the state or the props of the component, React compare its current virtual DOM with the previous one and identify. In case of identification, it compares the trees of both the virtual DOM and identify what has changed, or edit or delete, and it only put that part into the real DOM, and so on the UI it gets updated.
Okay. What are hooks in React and why are they used?
Okay, so hooks are functions that lets us use state and other React lifecycle features, and hooks make our code easy to maintain. So it also increase the readability. So to manage the structure of a component with hooks is easy in functional components, and hooks also make the code reusable. We can extract any reusable logic with the help of custom hooks, so that we can use it across different components, and it also help us to optimize the React application. For example, we can use callback and use memo to enhance the performance of the application. They helps us to prevent the multiple unnecessary re-renders.
Okay. How do you create and use custom hooks in React?
Okay, custom hooks. Custom hooks like any other hooks in the React. The same rules also applies to the custom hooks. And first, they also start with the use keyword in the start, like use state, use effect, and others rules also applies to it. This one also.
Explain with the practical example. You can open any code editor.
Okay. So, okay, I will use code sandbox. Custom. Okay, so for now, like I will be creating one custom hook. So let's say for toggle. So this will be my use toggle. Let's first check, is it working? Yes, it is working. So now first I will create new file, use toggle. In this I will import use state, install, and as other hooks, it also take an initial state. So like for now, let's take the initial state. So in the starting, I'm taking false. Let me use the state. So I'm taking a value. So now we are like building a custom hub for the toggle functionality so that we can use it anywhere across any component. So now here we will have our logic. Let's say I'm creating its function or setter. This will be a arrow function, and here we will set a value to whichever we got. So now I'm simply changing whatever value I have. I'm simply changing it to the opposite, and then also will return a state. So this will be our first state initial, and toggle will be our setter. What to use that? Now let's export it. Default this use toggle. Okay, now let's use it. So I'm creating a button. Let me just copy it. Now we'll just check if we are getting the value true or false. So here in span, I'm taking span. So now let's import our custom hook. Import use toggle. Well, so and on click of using a setter, think I did some mistake. Let me just here. Okay, I think it should work now. Yes, but we're not getting our value. Hmm. I'm clicking on click. It is calling. Okay, so now we're in JavaScript. So sometimes it behaves. It should work now. Okay. Okay, so our toggle is ready. So this is how we create custom hook, and now I can use it anywhere like this. I've used in my app component.